of the devotees. I am this. Sarvatam, those who are Paramahamsas, who have accepted the essence of life. Nisargaha, feature or symptom. Yat, which. Artavani, the aim of life. The aim of profit. Shruti, the aim of understanding. Chetasamapi, who have decided to accept the bliss of transcendental subjects as the aim and object of life. Pratikshanam, every moment. Navyavat, as if newer and newer. Achutasya, of Lord Krishna. Yat, because. Striyaha, topics of woman or sex. Vitanam, of debauchees, who are attached to women. Eva, exactly like. Sadhuvarta, actual conversation. Can someone put out the incense? It's giving me trouble with breathing. Incense over there. Or just put it out. Just turn it upside down. Upside down. Just put it out. Thank you. It's like being in Delhi. Okay. Translation. Paramahamsas, devotees who have accepted the essence of life, are attached to Krishna in the core of their hearts, and he is the aim of their lives. It is their nature to talk only of Krishna at every moment, as if such topics were newer and newer. They are attached to such topics just as materialists are attached to topics of women and sex. So you can repeat. Paramahamsas, devotees who have accepted the essence of life, are attached to Krishna in the core of their hearts, and he is the aim of their lives. It is their nature to talk only of Krishna at every moment, as if such topics were newer and newer. They are attached to such topics, just as materialists are attached to topics of women and sex. So purport by His Divine Grace, H.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The word Sarabhritam means Paramahamsas. The Hamsa or swan accepts milk from a mixture of milk and water and rejects the water. Similarly, the nature of persons who have taken to spiritual life and Krishna consciousness, understanding Krishna to be the life and soul of everyone, is that they cannot give up Krishna Kotha, or topics about Krishna at any moment. Such Paramahamsas always see Krishna within the core of the heart. Santak sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. Kama, desires, krodha, anger, and bhaya, fear, are always present in the material world, but in the spiritual or transcendental world, one can use them for Krishna. Kamam Krishna Kamar Pane. The desire of the Paramahamsas, therefore, is to act always for Krishna. Krodham Bhakti Vaishya Jane. They use anger against the non-devotees and transform bhaya or fear into fear of being deviated from Krishna consciousness. In this way, the life of a Paramahamsa devotee is used entirely for Krishna, just as the life of a person attached to the material world is used simply for women and money. What is day for the materialistic person is night for the spiritualist. What is very sweet for the materialist, namely women and money, is regarded as poison by the spiritualist. Sandarshanam Vishayinam Ata Yoshitam Cha Hahanta Hanta Visha Avakshannato Pyasadu. This is the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for Paramahamsas. Krishna is everything. For the materialists, women and money are everything. So, interesting verse. Satammayam sarabratam nisargo yadartavani shruti chetasam api pratikshanam navyavad achutasya yat striyavitanam eva saduvarta. Omagana Timidanda Shah Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshuru Meditam Yena Tasmai Shikadaveda Maha. So, before I get into the controversial aspects of this particular verse, which I'm sure you're all waiting for, we just want to talk about some of the word-by-word meanings here. So, of course, Satam, the devotees, means those who are always absorbed in the Sat, or the eternal aspect of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Aprasatam prasangam mamavirya samvado. And, of course, just the difficult words we'll take. Saravatam is an interesting word. It means one who is filled with the essence. Prabhupada translates it here as Paramahamsas who accepted the essence, but Saravatam literally means filled with the essence at every moment. And Nisarga, for those of you who know the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sarga is translated as modes of nature, and Nisarga means basically to negate the modes of nature, to be above the modes of nature. As Krishna says to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, Trigunya Vishya Veda Nis Trigunya Bhavarjana Nirdvan Bo Nidvasattvasto Niryogic Shema Atmavan. One should try to transcend the modes of nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, and be established in the self. So that's what Nisarga means. And, the other words are pretty easy. Artavani, aim of life. Shruti means to hear. Chetasamapi means the life of those who have accepted the bliss of transcendental enjoyment. And the next important word, pratikshanam, at every moment. If those of you who know the Shikshashika, there's this word pratipadam. Pratipadam means basically at every step, and then here you have kshanam means moments. It means at every moment, every step, every moment. Navyavat, it's newer and newer and newer. And then you get to the controversial stuff. Striya vitanam, which basically vitanam, that basically means a debauchee. Eva Sadhuvarta. So that's what I really want to talk about in this class, because some of you may get discouraged hearing these things, particularly since you may have female bodies. And some of us who have male bodies may think, hey, we're much better by hearing these particular instructions. But it's not the case, because the word used here to relate or to refer to women is a specific word, striya. There's many different words in Sanskrit that refer to ladies, but the word striya specifically means someone who increases enjoyment. And in that sense, in a wider sense, we can say that anything that increases our entanglement or enjoyment of the material world can fall under that particular category. Striya, although generally striya refers to ladies, but it means basically that one in the material world is thinking that they can enjoy the material energy. Although all of us, by nature, are feminine in relationship to Krishna. This is an ontological statement. Feminine in relationship to Krishna is that we are meant for enjoyment, but the enjoyment of Krishna. We are, even though that's our nature, we are thinking that other things can be enjoyed in this world. Do you understand that? So therefore, we see other things, whether it's women seeing men, or men seeing women, or me seeing a computer, or something, whatever because We have different things that we enjoy or attempt to enjoy in this material world according to our nature. I mean, those in the mode of goodness, their striya or object of enjoyment is like, let's say, knowledge, acquiring knowledge. They become very happy when they can acquire more and more knowledge. I remember when I was young that I would read the encyclopedia just for fun. That's mode of goodness. I'm not saying I'm in the mode of goodness, but I'm just saying that that was my enjoyment. And those in the mode of passion, their striya or attempt to enjoy the material world is, well, like romantic stuff, like Bollywood movies, which I'm sure all of you have seen at one point or other in your lives. And money. Generally, Vaishyas are in the mode of passion, mixed mode of passion, ignorance. Kshatriyas are really passionate. And Kshatriyas are actually much more romantic than Vaishyas are. That's why you have all these different stories of Kshatriyas kidnapping women, and, Rakshasa marriages it's called. Just like we were recently in India, and we were doing an engagement. Sannyasi do an engagement, really appropriate. But anyway, I was arranging. That's actually not really appropriate according to the Vedic standard, but modern day sannyasis, we could do everything. No, Prabhupada said that to encourage people. So I was doing an engagement, and there was some discussion about when the actual marriage would take place, and the parents of the girl and the parents of the boy, being so much in the mode of passion, we're thinking, well, we got to wait a year or two to save up all the money so we could have some big what's that called, shimbang or something like that? What? Shindig. Big shindig. Spending $150,000, $200,000 on it. I said, why? Why do something like that? Why spend all your money on something like that? And why not just get married right away? And they said, wait, we don't like you, Maharaj, And then I said to the couple, the reason to say this, I said to the couple, why don't you just do a Rakshasa marriage? It means kidnap the girl, exchange garlands, get away with all this nonsense, save money, Anyway, so that's the mode of passion. And the mode of ignorance, one's enjoyment, if one is really in ignorance, their enjoyment is just like gross sense gratification. It's not romantic at all. If someone's romantic, they're not in ignorance. They're usually passion, a little bit touch of ignorance. But in ignorance, you just want to enjoy right now. You're not thinking of the future, the consequences, or anything like that. And usually people in the mode of ignorance are getting drunk, taking intoxication, and, illicit sex, but of the worst type. Just like here in Hillsborough, there's one big building that's being built right now. Really beautiful building. I ask Gopal, what's this building for? You know what's for? Liquor shop. It's a giant liquor shop. I'm thinking, how can they have so much liquor? They could flood all of Hillsborough with much liquor that would fit into this particular shop. And that's ignorance. And so the more society, let's say, goes on, not progresses, regresses, degresses, or whatever, then the more people get into ignorance, the more Kali Yuga goes on. And I've actually seen that since I joined the Hare Krishna movement, that things get more and more in ignorance. I mean, if you look at the politics nowadays, the interactions between people, the divisiveness in society, it's more and more ignorance. Of course, not complete ignorance. If it was complete ignorance, everyone would be sleeping all the time. So it's a little passion there. So anyway, so this is what it means when we talk about an object of enjoyment. So generally in the Vedic literatures of the Bhagavatam, the women are referred to as striya, as an object of enjoyment. But there's other words for women too. For example, you wouldn't find a great devotee like Queen Kunti referred to as a striya. She's actually a Paramahamsa, a great pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the point is, how can we, whether you're in a male body or a female body or a child body or a brahmachari body, how can we avoid seeing things or people as objects of enjoyment? Because that's actually exploitation. That's not love. You know, what people think is love in this material world is, how can I possess you? How can I use you for my enjoyment? You know, just like you commonly hear, I'm yours and you're mine. That's romantic, right? I am yours eternally and you're mine. And that's nonsense. Sorry about that. The sannyasi speaking. So that's nonsense, because I don't belong to anyone but Krishna. You know, we know, you know, Isha Vasham Idam Sarvam Yad Kincha Jakajam Jakat Tena Jaktena Bunjata Margaretha Krishna Svidanam. Everything is owned and controlled by Krishna, and Krishna is giving us as a quota something to use in his service. So I don't own anybody. You know, the romantic statement, you're mine, I'm yours. And even sometimes a bogus guru will think that the disciples belong to him or her. We have lady gurus. So that's nonsense, because we belong to Krishna. The person belongs to Krishna. I don't belong to anyone but Krishna. Sorry about that. Of course, we're not saying that there shouldn't be marriage, because marriage means that people get married understanding that everything belongs to Krishna, and they're meant to assist the other person becoming Krishna conscious. Simple as that. I mean, marriage is fine, all sorts of relationships are fine, but when you have any of these relationships based on the enjoying propensity, whether it's friendship, whether it's marriage, whether it's servitude, it's always just like, I scratch your back and you scratch my back, right? What does that mean? That means a business arrangement. You know, I hate to mention it, but it is a business arrangement. And it's the opposite of love. You know, real love means not only in relationship to Krishna, but in relationship to anyone, that we assist them and serve them in becoming Krishna conscious. You know, if we love someone, we'll do the best thing for them. We won't try to use them for our own enjoyment. And that also refers to inanimate objects too. Of course, we're not supposed to love our computer, but we're supposed to use them for Krishna's enjoyment. And then by using that particular object, or by engaging that particular person in Krishna's service, then that particular person or object becomes spiritualized. Even a computer. Let's talk about a computer. You know, I always talk about computers, because that's my first love, my only love. Is that my computer becomes spiritualized. My mobile phone becomes spiritualized by using it in Krishna's service. That's the principle of Yukta Vairagya. Right? Because what do I mean by spiritualized? When you use something in Krishna's service, just like this word here in the word-by-word synonyms, nisargo, that particular object becomes freed from the modes of nature. Because every object that we have in this world has some mode of nature attached to it, just like everything is covered with a type of subtle wet paint. If something is wet, just like yesterday we were walking in the pavilion, they were painting the rail, and the contractor said, don't touch the rail, it's wet. So I touched it, then my hand would become a little brown by the paint. So the modes of nature are like that. And when you touch something that's under the modes of nature, let's take food, for example. You know, we all know we take prasadam, right? At least I take prasadam. I know you all take prasadam too. So prasadam basically means the mercy of Krishna. So it's not food the word prasadam is not synonymous, or is not a synonym for food. Prasadam means mercy. So it's mercy because you have these substances that were previously under the modes of nature, like pizza or whatever. And then you offer it to Krishna and it becomes nisarga, free of the modes of nature. And not only nisarga, it actually has transcendental goodness in it. It's a very subtle, I hate to use the word vibration or subtle force. There's like Star Wars, the Force, anyway. There's a force that, wow, I hate to use these expressions. There's a force that pervades everything. Anyway, I'm sure some of you have seen these movies. There's a force that pervades everything. And that's Krishna's energy or energies, whether it's the modes of nature or it's the transcendental mode of goodness or the spiritual energy. So when you offer something to Krishna, then touching that thing or coming in contact with that thing doesn't contaminate you. In fact, it purifies you. That's why we take prasadam, because it purifies us. And Prabhupada said if you eat food that's not offered to Krishna, not only, Krishna does say in the Gita, you're eating sin, that's one thing, that's karma, that's a different topic than the gunas. But if you eat food that's not offered to Krishna, in addition to getting some like good karma or bad karma, in this particular case, you get the modes of nature. Not only the modes of nature of the particular vegetable, I guess. What mode does a carrot have? I don't know. But an unoffered carrot, I guess, is goodness, material goodness. In addition, you get the mode of nature or the modes of nature of the person cooking it. If you go to the restaurant and you don't offer your food, and the person who is cooking is in the mode of ignorance, then somehow or other you get affected by the mode of ignorance. You want to go to the Hillsborough liquor store and buy some liquor right after eating a fruit salad. Innocent fruit salad or innocent spaghetti or something like that. So Krishna says in the Gita, Karinam guna sangasha sadasad janmajonisha. The reason we're entangled in this material world is because of guna sangha. Sangha means association with guna sangha. So that's really the point. So when we use something in Krishna's service, it's not guna sangha anymore. It's sattva gun sangha. We're associated with the mode of goodness. So like Prabhupada said, wait, let's get back to the point. Striya, like we find in Lord Chaitanya Shikshashtaka, Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim, Kavitam Vrajagadishi Kamaye, Mama Janmani, Janmanishvare, Bhavatad Bhakti Hoitati Tvoye. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I don't want wealth, Dhanam, Janam, followers. I don't want Sundarim, that's another word. Sundari is sort of like a negative word. It's not like striya, like enjoyment. Sundari can refer to young girls. I don't want any of these things. All I want is causeless devotional service life after life. But if one is Krishna conscious, then all these particular things that may have been objects for enjoyment, or for girl it would be sundara, instead of sundarim, men, some handsome young chap like Vivek Oberoi or something like that, Bollywood star. Some of you may know him. Or Akshay Kumar. That's interesting. Akshay Kumar, everybody knows Akshay Kumar? Yeah. So I met Akshay Kumar one time. He was staying right next to me at Govardhan. And I thought, I want to give him a Bhagavad Gita. But I couldn't get near him. I couldn't get close to him. He had all these paparazzis, bodyguards, and everything. I thought, how can I get near him? Okay, here. There was a young girl, a Sundari, who was with us. I said, you can approach him and bring him here. So I said, this is your mission. If you decide to accept it, And if you get caught or killed, anyway, that's a different story. But anyway, so you go and bring him here. So she went over, went through all the bodyguards, paparazzi, said, come here, meet my guru. He said, okay. And then he came in, I gave him the Bhagavad Gita, and on his Facebook page he actually posted, I've been blessed today, and he posted a picture of Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, not this book, Bhagavad Gita. So, anyway, so we all have objects of enjoyment, dhanam, janam, sundarim, wealth. And it's interesting, Prabhupada actually one time said, after there was an impersonalist who was pushing away money, had a picture of himself pushing away money. Prabhupada said you could take a picture of him pulling in money. And then Prabhupada definitely was canvassing for more and more people to join the Krishna consciousness movement. And then Prabhupada was encouraging women to join the Krishna consciousness movement, giving them equal facility, equal rights within the Krishna consciousness movement. And even many of his godbrothers, they criticized Prabhupada. How can you let women stay in the temple? How can, so many things like that. I'm not going to talk about what motive they had, because that's between them and Krishna. It's not the right etiquette for me to talk about that. But in any case, they were criticizing Prabhupada. But Prabhupada saw that everything belongs to Krishna. And everything is meant to be used for Krishna's service. Whether it's money we use to build temples, to distribute books. Of course, Prabhupada specifically got the instruction from the spiritual master that if you're ever getting money, you should print and distribute books. And that was, but money and followers. And look at Prabhupada accepted so many big Vyas pujas, Guru pujas. Every day Prabhupada had a Guru puja. And I remember going to one in New Vrindavan, and it was tremendous Guru puja. There were literally hundreds or thousands of devotees there, and Prabhupada was distributing his own birthday cake to everybody during that Vyas puja. And what was going on there, isn't it? Janam, followers. And so then Prabhupada even showed the first lady who joined the movement how to wear a sari. That was Jadharani. Striya, or Sundari in that particular case. So really that's the point. To see that everything is owned by Krishna. Otherwise you're a thief. If you think you can enjoy, that means you're contemplating stealing. And if you actually try to enjoy, and that's also violence too, when you try to enjoy another person, isn't it? Not only are you like a thief because you try to take something, it's like envy. It's a type of envy. Envy means you want something that someone else has. Right? I want your body, to enjoy your body. Or whatever, I want your computer. So not only is it envy, but it's violence. Why is it violence? Because you're putting someone further into the bodily conception of life. Right? You may think, this is bodily enjoyment, but you're deviating someone from spiritual life. Prabhupada defined violence as impeding someone's spiritual life, or as impeding someone's progress towards spiritual life in that particular case. So really, that's the point. This verse is not meant in any way, or the Bhagavatam is not meant in any way to denigrate women as any less than men. Although sometimes people take things out of context, not understanding. Context means where a particular statement is in the Srimad Bhagavatam or in the Bhagavad Gita to justify their particular, let's say, concepts of life or their particular desires. It's like I sometimes said, different shlokas for different folks. You could, if you take a particular shlok means your verse in Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, out of context, then you can practically prove anything. for example, you have, okay, so in the chapter Divine and Demoniac Natures in the Bhagavad Gita, you have this verse, Ishwaraham aham bhogi siroham balavan sukhi. You take it out of the context of the chapter. And in that verse it says, Ishwaraham, I am perfect, I am powerful, I am happy. So you may say, oh, that's us. But it's not. That's a verse describing how the demons think, not how you should think. Isn't it? So that's what it means to take things, that's a really gross example of taking things out of context. So one has to understand the purpose. And that's basically what a Paramahamsa is, which is Srila Prabhupada, understanding the purpose. So how do we get to that point? Because right now we only have 3 minutes, but anyway, right now practically everything we see, we want to enjoy. And if we go into a Best Buy store, we see all these newer computers, just like, enjoy, whatever. So the way we get out of this particular consciousness is by proper association with a pure devotee who is on the spiritual platform, that Paramahamsa platform, which is Prabhupada, and that's the Bhakti Lata Beach. You hear from Prabhupada, you associate with Prabhupada, and then Satam Prasangan Mama Virya Sampada Bhavanti Ritarna Rasayana Kata. Chajoshana Dashu Apavarga Vartmani Shraddha Rathira Bhakti Anukramashiti. By associating with someone like Prabhupada, Prasangam, and hearing about Krishna's activities, Mama Virya Samvadha, which talks about Krishna's heroic activities, then Bhavanti Ritkarna Rasayana Kata. Then you'll get the medicine from the ear to the heart. And that medicine will help you progress, Shraddha, Rathir, from just initial faith in Krishna consciousness, and then Ratir, having a taste. Of course, there's several steps in between there. One of them is anartha nivritti, getting rid of these anarthas. And that's very easy to get rid of the anarthas. Just see Krishna. Like Prabhupada said in the purport, anger can be used in Krishna's service. Lust can be used in Krishna's service. Krishna says, I'm sex life according to religious principles. And all these things can be used. Just see Krishna as the object of person you're supposed to give enjoyment to. That's all. Simple thing. So anyway, so by hearing from a great personality like that, and how do you know who's a great personality? Lord Kapila Dev describes, Titikshava Kurunika Surida Sarvadehinam Jata Shatrava Shanta Sadhava Sadhabhushana. You know by the qualities. Quality is the person who's tolerant, merciful, a friend to all living entities, doesn't have any enemies, like that. If you simply serve like that, Mahatseva or Vimuktes, then everything will work out. Just one thing, while you're serving, while you're following the directions of this great personality, Srila Prabhupada, avoid offending others. Actually, Lord Chaitanya's devotees, they would never want to say anything negative about anyone else. They may say negative about someone's philosophy, but not about the person itself. As soon as you start to utilize or fall under the illusion of ad hominem attacks, that means personal attacks against someone, then you're committing Vaishnava aparat. We may disagree with someone philosophically, just like there's different sampradayas. We have different philosophical understandings, small points, not big points, with different sampradayas, like the Sri Sampradaya, the Kumara Sampradaya, etc., Rudra Sampradaya. But still, we don't criticize. We see the unity, the devotion of people, just like I gave a whole class the other day about unity and diversity. And in this way, we can progress in spiritual life and never commit offenses. against Vaishnavas, those who have dedicated their lives to propagating the holy name of the Lord. So we have to end now. And that